I went through more than 1,000 EV owner surveys, forums, and long-term reviews, and the same regret kept showing up over and over again. But it's probably not the one you're expecting. Buying an EV is a huge decision. It's not like swapping one petrol car for another. New tech, new fueling habits, a completely different way of thinking about running a car day to day. So I went through owner surveys, forums, long-term reviews, and real driver experiences to find out what actually happens after the purchase. Not the marketing, not the dealership pitch, the real story months and sometimes years later, once the excitement wears off and the car becomes part of daily life. And a clear pattern started to emerge, one that repeated itself across almost every thread, every survey, every comment section, regardless of which brand or model people had bought. Most owners don't regret buying an EV. What they regret are the decisions they made before they bought one. Small oversights that seemed harmless at the time, but ended up shaping how they felt about the car for years afterward. Here's what came up again and again. Regret number 1, buying the wrong EV. The first regret wasn't about EVs being bad cars. It was about buyers choosing the wrong one for their life. A lot of owners admitted they got caught up in acceleration numbers, horsepower figures, and huge touchscreens. All the exciting stuff you see in a showroom, in a magazine review, or in a slick YouTube unboxing. It's the same trap petrol buyers fall into, except with EVs, the numbers feel even more dramatic. Instant torque, sub 4 seconds 0 to 60 times, screens the size of a laptop. What a lot of these buyers didn't do was stop and ask a much simpler question. Does this car actually fit my daily life? Someone who drives 5 miles to the shops and back doesn't need a 400-mile flagship with a battery the size of a small hotel room. Someone doing 200-mile motorway runs every week for work doesn't want a small city runabout with a basic cooling system that struggles on repeated rapid charges. But over and over, buyers picked based on the spec sheet instead of their actual routine. One theme that kept coming up was owners who bought the fastest, flashiest trim available, only to realize months later they never used the performance, never needed the huge screen, and would have been just as happy and thousands of pounds better off with a simpler version of the same car. Some even said the extra performance made the car feel twitchy and harder to live with in daily traffic, rather than adding any real enjoyment. The wrong EV can still be a great car. It's just a great car for somebody else's life, not yours. Regret number 2, not thinking about charging. Here's the surprising part. New owners weren't regretting charging itself. Charging an EV isn't complicated once you understand it. What actually caught people off guard was how much charging convenience mattered once the novelty wore off. In the first few weeks, everyone's happy to plan a route around a charger, treat it like a mini adventure, and take photos next to the charging bay. 6 months in, that novelty is completely gone, and charging just needs to work. Owners without home charging kept running into the same problem. Reliable fast chargers weren't always where they needed them to be, when they needed them. A charger marked as available on an app would turn out to be broken, occupied, or painfully slow. And owners who assumed they'd figure out a charging routine later often found themselves scrambling for a plug during the exact week the car mattered most. A work trip, a family emergency, a holiday getaway. The owners who were happiest, a wide margin, were the ones who sorted out their charging situation before they ever picked up the keys. They knew whether they could charge at home, whether their workplace had a charger, whether their local supermarket or gym offered a plug while they were already there anyway. That groundwork made the difference between an EV that felt effortless and the one that felt like a constant chore. A few owners mentioned something less obvious: the mental shift from filling up to topping up. Petrol drivers are used to running near empty and refueling in 5 minutes. EV owners who kept waiting until the battery was low before searching for a charger were the ones who ran into stress and inconvenience. The ones who plugged in a little whenever they parked, treating charging as a background habit rather than an event, barely thought about it at all. Charging convenience matters more than range. A car with slightly less range but an easy, predictable charging routine beat a car with a huge range and an awkward one almost every single time. Regret number 3, paying for range they never used. This one showed up constantly in forums, and it's one of the more expensive regrets on this list. Buyers paid thousands more for the biggest battery on the options list. A bigger number felt like more peace of mind at the time of purchase. Then a few months in, they'd actually checked their driving data, Most trips were short, school runs, commutes, weekend errands. Most days used only a small fraction of what that battery could hold. The extra range just sat there, unused, quietly adding to the purchase price, and adding weight that the car had to lug around on every single journey, whether it needed it or not. Some owners worked out that the premium they paid for the largest battery option would have covered years of public charging costs, a much better home charging setup, or simply stayed in their pocket. The range itself wasn't wasted exactly. It was there if they ever needed it, but for the vast majority of their driving, it never got touched. A smaller number of owners took the opposite lesson from this. A handful who bought smaller batteries to save money ended up regretting it slightly when their circumstances changed. A new job with a longer commute. So the real takeaway wasn't always buy the smallest battery. It was buy for the driving you actually do, not the road trip you might do once a year. Bigger isn't always better. It's better only if you actually use it. Otherwise, it's just money parked inside a battery pack, depreciating along with the rest of the car. If you're finding this useful, hit subscribe now before we get into the next part, because this is where the biggest surprise in the data shows up. Regret number 4, worrying too much about the battery. Before buying, nearly every owner admitted the same fear kept them up at night. Battery degradation. What if it dies early? What if the range collapses after a few years and the car becomes worthless? But look at what actually happened after ownership. Survey after survey, long-term owners reported the battery held up far better than they expected. Zero degradation. Batteries are chemical devices. They do wear out over time, but nowhere near the horror stories that circulate online before people buy. Cars with tens of thousands of miles on the clock were still showing battery health in the high 80s or low 90s% range, comfortably enough for daily use. Some owners even said the anxiety itself became the real cost. They'd baby the car, avoid fast charging when they didn't need to, obsessed over charge percentages, all to protect a battery that turned out to be far more resilient than they'd feared. A few admitted they'd spent more energy checking battery health apps in the first year than they did in every year afterward combined, once they realized the numbers barely moved. Sometimes the biggest regret wasn't a car problem at all. It was the amount of time and stress spent worrying about something that, for most drivers, simply turned out fine. Regret number 5, underestimating winter driving. Cold weather changes an EV more than most new owners expect. Charging speeds drop, efficiency drops, driving range drops. It's not a design flaw, it's basic battery chemistry. Cold cells don't move energy around as efficiently as warm ones. But plenty of owners went into their first winter with zero preparation and got a real shock the first time their normal range suddenly wasn't there. A car that comfortably did 200 miles in summer might only manage 150 or 160 on a freezing morning, especially with the cabin heater running, and the battery still cold from sitting overnight. The owners who did their homework beforehand understand preconditioning, knowing to warm the battery before a rapid charge, adjusting their expectations for winter trips, barely noticed the difference in their day-to-day routine. The ones who didn't were the ones posting frustrated reviews in January, convinced something was broken when really it was just winter doing what winter does. A pattern also showed up around second winters versus first winters. Owners who'd been through one cold season already stopped worrying entirely by the second, because they knew exactly what to expect and had already adjusted their charging and driving habits. The regret, once again, was concentrated almost entirely in that first unprepared winter. Regret number 6, not researching ownership costs. The last major regret wasn't about the car itself at all. It was about everything sitting around it. Insurance came up constantly. Some EVs, especially performance trims or rarer models, turned out to cost far more to insure than buyers expected, sometimes enough to wipe out the fuel savings they thought they were getting. Tires wore out differently too, since EVs tend to be heavier and deliver instant torque, which some owners hadn't accounted for. Charging prices varied wildly depending on tariff, provider, and whether charging happened at home overnight or at a public rapid charger during the day. And depreciation on certain models moved faster than buyers anticipated, especially as newer, cheaper EVs kept arriving on the market. Owners kept saying the same thing in hindsight. They focused so hard on the sticker price of the car that they skipped the bigger picture entirely. owning an EV can genuinely be far cheaper than running a petrol or diesel car. Some owners reported cutting their monthly fuel and running costs by more than half, especially those on cheap overnight electricity tariffs. But that only holds true if you go in with your eyes open about the full cost, not just the number on the windshield. The biggest surprise after reading 1,000 owner experiences. After going through hundreds of real stories, one thing became obvious. Most EV owners don't regret going electric. They regret decisions they made before they bought. The spec chasing instead of lifestyle fitting, the oversized battery nobody really needed, the charging plan that didn't exist until it was urgently needed, the winter nobody prepared for, the insurance quote nobody got until after the paperwork was signed. Every single one of those regrets is avoidable. None of them requires a better car on the market. They just require a buyer who does the homework first, who checks their own driving patterns, sorts out charging in advance, gets a real insurance quote, and understands the full cost of ownership before handing over any money. What stood out most, reading through story after story, is how few of these regrets were actually about the technology failing. The motors worked, the batteries held up, the cars did what they were supposed to do. It was almost always the planning around the purchase that let people down, not the purchase itself. Get that right, and you'll end up in the much larger group of owners who don't regret a single thing about going electric. If this saved you from making one of these mistakes, drop a comment and let me know which regret hit closest to home. And if you want more breakdowns like this before you buy your next EV, subscribe. There's a lot more coming.